Hello and good day. My name is Kevin Lee Cardoza and today we will be discussing about visual information in media for week 13. Today we will be discussing the third of our series in Multimedia Circle, that being the visual aspect of multimedia. The objectives of our class today would be to describe the different dimensions of visual information in media, to comprehend how visual information and media are formally and informally produced, organized, and disseminated, to evaluate the reliability and validity of visual information and media and their sources using selection criteria, and lastly, to produce and evaluate a creative visual-based presentation using design and principle and elements. So, according to the Gen report, in their power of visual content, 40% of the people respond better to visual information than plain text. That's why we will be discussing visual media and information. It is the materials, the programs, the applications, and the like that the teachers and students use to formulate new information to aid learning through the use, analysis, evaluation, and production of visual images. Types of visual media include photography, video, screenshots, infographics, and such. The purpose of visual information is to gain attention and create meaning and facilitate retention. It is also the basic building blocks. This is also the basic building blocks in construction of visual image. Now we will be discussing about visual design elements. First one would be the line. Line describes a shape or an outline, can create texture, and can be thick or thin. Lines may be actual, implied, vertical, horizontal, diagonal, or contour. Shape. It is usually a geometric area that stands out from the space next to or around it, or because of the differences in value, color, or texture. There are three types of shapes. First one being geometric. Geometric is comprised of the basic shapes we already know, such as squares, triangles, circles, and so on. Organic shapes are made up of the shapes that usually can be found in the nature. For example, the shape of leaves and the shape of flowers. And lastly, abstract. Abstract images or abstract shapes are usually doesn't have a real meaning by itself but other than its perceived meaning. Next one would be value. Value is the degree of light and dark in a design. It is the contrast between black and white and all the tones in between. Contrast is the extreme changes between values. Next, texture. Texture can be added to attract or repel interest in a visual element. Visual texture is the illusion of the surfaces, peaks, and valleys, resulting in a feeling of smoothness or roughness between objects. Color. Color is determined by its hue, intensity, and value. Hue is the name of the color, intensity is the purity of the hue, and value is the lightness or darkness of the hue. Color and color combination can play a large role in the design. Color may be used for emphasis or may elicit emotions from viewers. Color may be warm, cool, or neutral. It plays a major role in our visual perception as it influences our reactions about the world around us. Next visual element would be form. Form is a figure having a volume and thickness. An illusion of a three-dimensional object can be implied with the use of light and shading. Now we're moving on to the visual design principles. First one is consistency. Consistency of margins, typeface, and type style and other colors are necessary, especially in slide presentations or documents that are more than one page. Next is center of interest. It is an area that first attracts attention in a composition. This can be by contrast of values, more colors, and placement in the format. Balance. Balance is a feeling of visual equality in shape, form, value, color, and etc. Balance can be symmetrical and evenly balanced or asymmetrical and unevenly balanced. Objects, values, colors, textures, shapes, forms, and such can be used in creating balance in a composition. Harmony. If for example your composition was using wavy lines and organic shapes, you would stay with those lines and not put it in just one shape. Harmony can be described as achieving through repetition and rhythm. Contrast. Contrast shows the difference between the shapes and can be used as a background to bring objects out and forward in a design. It can also be used to create an area of emphasis. Directional movement. It is created with a value pattern. It is with the placement of dark and light areas that you can move around the attention through the format. Directional movement can be suggestion of movement in the design as you move from object to object by way of placement and position. Rhythm. It is a movement in which some elements recur regularly. Like a dance, it will have a flow of objects that will seem to be like in the beat of a music. And lastly, perspective. Perspective are created through the arrangement of objects in two-dimensional space to look like they appear in real life. Perspective is a learned meaning of the relationship between different objects as seen in space.